Stanford built a research method so good that it writes Wikipedia-grade articles from scratch with citations on topics it has never seen before. They call it STORM. And almost nobody has realized that you can run the exact same method inside Claude. So, in the next few minutes, I'm going to hand you 5 copy and paste prompts that turn Claude from a chatbot that guesses into a research machine that interviews experts, hunts down real sources, and writes a report that actually holds up. The gap between this and just asking AI to write me a report is enormous. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Here's what almost everyone does: they open an AI tool and they type, "Write me a report on this topic." And the model does exactly what it was asked. It pulls one narrow answer out of its memory, in one voice, from one point of view. It sounds confident. It's often shallow, sometimes wrong, and it quietly skips entire angles you didn't even know to ask about. And here's the thing: the problem is not the model, the problem is the method. You asked one question, so you got one perspective. But real research doesn't work like that. Real research asks many questions from many different angles, and it checks every single answer against a real source. This is exactly the problem a team at Stanford set out to solve. The lab is called OVAL, led by Professor Monica Lam. And in 2024, they published STORM at a top AI research conference. STORM stands for Synthesis of Topic Outlines through Retrieval and Multi-Perspective Question Asking. In plain English, instead of writing from memory, it researches a topic the way a great journalist would. It discovers different perspectives, it interviews an expert from each one, and it grounds every answer in a real, retrievable source. And it works. In their own evaluation, the articles came out 25% more organized and 10% broader in coverage than strong AI baselines. More than 70,000 people have already used the public version. It's completely open source and there's a free demo. Both are linked below. But you don't need either one because you can rebuild the whole thing inside Claude. So, what's the actual trick? It comes down to 2 moves. Move 1: before researching anything, Storm discovers the different perspectives a topic deserves: a historian, an economist, a skeptic, a frontline practitioner. Each one cares about completely different things. Move 2: each of those perspectives interviews an expert in a back and forth conversation, and every answer that expert gives has to be grounded in a real source. That's it. Many perspectives, which forces breadth. Grounded answers, which kills hallucination. Now, here's the part that matters for you. You do not need the Stanford code to do this. You can run every step by hand, inside Claude, with 5 prompts. Let me give them to you, one at a time. Prompt 1: Perspective Discovery. You paste in your topic, and you tell Claude to act as a senior research strategist and map out the 6 to 8 distinct expert perspectives the topic genuinely deserves. For each one, it names the persona, what that persona cares about, and the sharpest questions they would ask. Watch what happens. Instead of one generic take, Claude lays out a panel of angles you would never have assembled on your own: the supporter and the critic, the theorist and the operator, the present and the history. This single step is the whole reason Storm beats normal research. Because you're no longer asking one question, you're about to ask dozens, each one from a different mind. Prompt 2: the simulated expert interview. And this is the beating heart of the whole method. You take one perspective at a time and you tell Claude to run a multi turn interview, playing two roles at once. As the writer, it asks sharp, curious questions, one at a time, and each new question has to build on the last answer. As the expert, it answers. But under one strict rule, every factual claim has to be backed by a real source it searches for and cites. If it can't find a source, it has to say unverified instead of making something up. Then it asks a follow up, just like a real interviewer chasing a thread. Run that for each perspective, and you are no longer collecting opinions. You're collecting cited evidence from every angle at once. Prompt 3: Curate, then outline. By now, you've got a pile of questions, answers, and sources from every perspective. It's messy, and that's fine. So you tell Claude to switch roles and become a meticulous editor. Group every finding by theme. Strip out the duplicates. Flag the places where two sources contradict each other. And then turn the whole mess into one clean, hierarchical outline where every section is mapped to the sources that actually support it. This is the step almost everyone skips, and it's the step that separates a wall of text from a real document. Notice, you're still not writing yet. You're deciding what deserves to be said and in what order. Prompt 4: Grounded writing. Only now do you let Claude actually write, and you hand it a strict brief. Write the report section by section, following the outline exactly, in a neutral, factual tone. Every claim has to point back to one of the sources we already collected. No new facts, no invention. And if a section is thin, write needs more research instead of padding it with fluff. Here's why this works: because you did the perspective work and the interviews first. What comes out the other end isn't a generic essay that could have been written about anything. It's a structured, cited report that actually says something and that you can trust. Prompt 5. And this is the one that takes you from good to genuinely expert. Stanford built a follow up called STORM, and its secret weapon is a moderator, an agent whose entire job is to surface the unknown unknowns, the important questions that nobody in the room thought to ask. So you give Claude that exact role. Look at everything we've gathered and find the blind spots, the angles we missed, the sources we found but never actually used. And while it's in there, you have it. Red team the report for the two specific failures the Stanford team warned about: leaning too hard on one biased source and connecting facts that aren't actually related, the red herrings. Then fix both. This final pass is the difference between a report and the last word on a subject. Put those 5 prompts in a row, and you've just rebuilt Stanford's entire research pipeline inside Claude. Perspectives, interviews, outline, grounded writing, and a blind spot sweep. Use it for a market analysis, a literature review, a competitor breakdown, due diligence, a deep dive on any subject you actually need to understand instead of skim. And if you ever want the industrial strength version, the one that runs all of this automatically across hundreds of sources, the real Storm is open source and free to try, and both links are in the description. But honestly, for most real work, these 5 prompts inside Claude are all you will ever need. I packaged all 5 prompts, formatted and ready to paste, into a free prompt pack with a worked example so you can see exactly how they chain together. To grab it, just comment the word storm on this video and I'll send it straight to you, or use the link in the description. If this changed how you think about AI research, subscribe here on YouTube and follow Hyper Automation Labs on Instagram and Facebook, because this is the kind of thing I break down here every single week. And if you want to go even deeper, my full guides are linked below too. Now, go make Claude do some real research.